When you think makeover, you think mostly about hair, makeup, and style, but don't forget about your home environment. Justin Haynes is a fashion designer and the founder of Justin H, and he's here to help us give our home a little fashion makeover.
Yes.
So Justin, we're talking curtains first. So actually this curtain right here, this is something that many people would have in their home, just a solid color,
Exactly.
hanging down straight. Tell me how we can jazz it up, kind of spice up your home.
Well, you can spice it up with a lot of different things, but one thing we want to do is we want to talk about how we can do it with neckties.
Okay.
I think neckties would be great, especially because it's such a sentimental factor for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so let's start with the necktie.
Okay, perfect. So you could use a solid color or you could use a pattern. And neckties, you know, if you have a loved one in your life, a grandfather or a father, and you want to hang on to one of his articles of clothing that, you know, he's passed on, you could use that.
Right, definitely.
So that it's a constant reminder.
Exactly, but you don't always have to stick to solid colors. We
Right.
want to stick to some patterns and some colors so that it gives a pop of some kind of newness.
Right, and don't be
You know?
afraid to take some chances, right? That's what
Exactly.
you're all about.
No,
Go for
it.
something different.
Exactly, exactly.
All right.
So this is what we want to do. You know, it's a regular straight hanging curtain. What we want to do is try to give it some pizzazz.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we're just going to use this tie just to give it a tie back kind of feel.
All right.
Excuse me, Ashley.
Yes, no problem. So you just wrapped it around the back?
I just wrapped it around the back and I brought it through this way. Now you can do many different things. You can let it hang just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I will always advise to have like a hook or something there. So just to give it a little bit of extra hold to it.
Yep.
So let's say we want to give it like a nice bow.
That is really neat. Oh my gosh.
Just pizzazz it a little bit.
It doesn't even look like a necktie.
No.
I mean, that looks great. And obviously, you know, if it's something, men never have two of the same tie.
Never.
Usually don't have two of the
Somewhat
same
of-
tie. I mean, unless
yeah.
it's their favorite. But if you only have one, you can mix and match patterns.
You definitely can, and that's huge this season as far as like mixing and matching patterns and doing different things. Like it's great to actually give that contrast of different patterns.
And when you're using patterns like this, you don't want to use too many different patterns
Not
around
too
the
many.
home.
You won't always want to stick to maybe two patterns at least.
Okay.
Give about two patterns and then pull a solid in to kind of give it a break.
Right, and that's what we're seeing here with the solid
Exactly.
curtain. So let's try, can we try another color?
Sure.
Just to kind of see what it would look like with this.
Let's try another color.
And now also, Justin, if this were a colored, solid color, like at home I have green
Okay.
curtains, I could still use, obviously, a tie that would have colors that obviously complement
Exactly,
it.
that contrast it and
That
give it that
contrast.
same.
You can still use a pattern even if it's a solid color.
Right, they give it the same feel. So let's try this blue and green, which will kind of pull out. You have to remember too, a lot of colors in ties, they don't pull out the actual natural color until it's against something. So now you can see that this tie actually has
Yeah.
brown in it. So if you want to do that bow again, but let's do something else.
I really want to do this at my house. I love it. So now here we're seeing how the brown and green goes really good together. And
Right.
here, I mean, this yellowish gold tie looked really good too.
Exactly, so now this actually looks like a
Oh,
tie.
yeah. That looks great, Justin.
Yeah.
That's really neat. And people might not even realize
They won't
that
even
it's
realize
a
it,
tie.
but you know, it's something that still gives you a little bit of sentimental factor and actually give you a little bit of pizzazz to your actual home.
And if you don't have ties around your home, you can go to a Goodwill or go to
Definitely.
tag sailing and you can get them for really
Exactly. It's
inexpensive
all
and use
about
them.
repurposing. We never want to try to go out to Macy's or wherever and buy a tie just to do something. Old, vintage stuff like this actually works good. So viewers, please make sure that you use your resources that way.
Recycle, repurpose, absolutely. And then we have some needle and thread here.
Yes.
Just to talk about if you have a curtain, let's say you have a cat that has claws and it ripped your curtain and you think the curtain's no good anymore.
Right.
You can actually stitch it up and no one will ever even know.
Never. And I think we should also remember that too. Don't ever throw anything away. We never
Never.
throw anything away. So say there is a rip. We always want to make sure, you guys, that we go through the back and sew it.
Okay.
So never sew it in the front, you sew it in the back. So you would gather the material here together, and you would take it and just sew it just like you're doing here.
What is that needle you're using? It's like a
This is
hook.
actually a carpet needle.
Really?
And this is something that actually is good for anything, any sewing, anything that you're doing on your own. This needle works tremendously. It doesn't, you know, the eye hook is good, and it just works really
It works
great.
really good. Wow,
Yeah.
I'll have to get myself one of those for
Yeah.
all my
There are any fabrics?
home projects. Yeah.
So you're just going to keep doing that. Just keep going in and out.
And you can just stitch it right up?
Just stitch it right up, and then it'll just, you'll see.
Yeah. And you won't see a tear anymore?
You won't see a tear
nice
anymore. Right, and some people that I've also done with curtains and stuff, they've actually thrown like some hip colors of threads in there just to kind of give it some, and they've done it throughout so it doesn't look like.
It doesn't take a lot of time.
No.
It just kind of, maybe just watch MassAppeal to get some ideas,
exactly.
right? There you go.
That's
and listen to Justin, right. All right, Justin, well, thank you so much. And now, coming up, we're not done with you. No. I'm looking forward to this. If you have an outdated throw pillow that's kind of yuck and drab, right? We're going to show you how to make it over and give it a whole fresh new look. Can't wait for that. Also, it's time for Design Appeal. We're continuing our home makeover.
Yes.
If you have a throw pillow that no longer matches your decor or is kind of outdated, we're going to let you know how to cover it. Justin Haynes, he's a fashion designer and owner of Justin H. Justin, we've already shown how to kind of repurpose your curtain and make it look nice and cute and chic. And now this throw pillow, I wouldn't put it on my couch, would you?
No, not anymore. I think back when style wasn't so important, this would have been great. Even then, I don't think this would be great. We still want to give it some life.
Yes,
so,
give it life.
Want to start over here?
Let's start over here. So this is the chair in my living room. Welcome to my living room.
Yeah, average pillow.
What do we think?
I mean, it works, it complements it, but if you want to give something a little bit of color, a little bit of pizzazz, we did something different.
Yeah.
I've kind of covered something real quick before the show.
You sure did.
So let's see what we can
All right,
do.
so
give you that.
Let's tell the viewers, close your eyes.
You ready?
And
bam, here we go.
Bam! Take a look at that.
So what I did was I just covered it with some green material to kind of give it a little pop. And then, a lot of people like little flowers and decor stuff. So we just added something to give it a little bit of something so you can like tilt it that way and it has a little pop of color.
What a difference.
It did.
And especially if you want to change your decor with the seasons,
right.
And all you just covered that.
Just
I watched you. I can't believe how fast you did that. And you could just do that for all your throw pillows to change your home according to the season.
Exactly.
And it really does make a huge difference.
It does. And you don't have to always use the flower. That's just something that some people like. Like my mom, she loves flowers. I know you love flowers.
I love
flowers.
But,
just something that's to give it something, it just kind of throws
a little accent. Right. And you can use whatever fabric you want.
Whatever.
And we're actually going to show that you can even use clothing.
Clothing, yes.
All right, so this sweater, I actually picked this up this weekend at a tag sale for 50 cents. But let's say it was a family member that had passed away and it was their article of clothing that you wanted to keep and it was sentimental. Justin, show us how you can turn this into a pillow cover.
So let's use it and cover it with the pillow. So what you want to do is to make it quick and to make it easier for you. And I will say this too, anything that you devote your time to will come out great. So I don't want you to think like if you just throw it on, it's gonna come, come together. Give yourself about a day or two, to make it come out perfect.
Right, don't rush it.
Don't rush it.
Watch a good movie while you're doing it.
Take your time in your free time. So here, you wanna make sure that you put the sweater, put the pillow inside the sweater. And then from there, you want to grab the excess that's in there and you want to begin to stitch. And this, I will say, unless you want to be creative, use the same color thread. Just so that it doesn't,
So it's seamless.
It's seamless, yeah.
And you're using that you showed earlier, that carpet needle that is a hook.
It's a hook, and it's actually going to be better to go through the whole entire thing.
Okay.
So what you're just going to do is just go through, and you're just going to kind of attach.
Now you put, obviously, you put a knot at the end of the thread.
Yes, I put a knot at the end of the thread so it wouldn't go.
That goes without saying.
But you want to attach the sweater to the pillow.
See, if I didn't know, if I didn't get this tutorial from you, I would have cut the sweater first.
No. You want to sew it on first. Then you want to cut it because then you decide if you wanted that ridged edge look, or if you it's distressed, or you wanted to kind of. And with this being kind of an older sweater, more vintage, I will keep the distressed look at the end just to kind of give it that feel of.
I trust you. Whatever you do, Justin, I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks with that distressed look. Now, if you wouldn't mind, just to show everyone exactly what you're doing, can we just open up the sweater and show exactly what you did? So this pillow has this little seam or whatever it is.
It's actually a binding. That they use around there.
And you actually are stitching
it right to the binding.
Right to the binding. Okay, so just so people can see that.
Right.
And that's an easy thing to do. You can multitask.
Right.
You can, maybe, obviously you can't watch two kids while you're doing it.
Probably not, but I would say
but you can watch a movie once the kids are asleep, sit there and do that.
Once you keep going in it, once you start something and you get the hang of it and you get the feel of it, you get the rhythm of it, you don't want to stop because you want to see the outcome of it.
Yes, you get excited. All right, Justin, let's say It's a pillow that you want to kind of change out the cover with the seasons.
Okay.
You don't have to stitch it to the pillow. You could stitch around, but it wouldn't necessarily be it wouldn't be as flush, would you say?
I mean, you could stitch it around. It would be flush. It all
would?
depends. So we can do that while the sweater's there. I can show you on top of that.
Okay. So so this is obviously we're using a big man sweater, but you could use fabric.
You can use fabric, and what you can do is just go do the same way, but you wouldn't go on both sides. You would start the first side first, the top. So you would stop on the top side first, and then do the same thing, go through the binding around each.
With the fabric.
With the fabric.
And this is great fabric because this is the kind of thing you'd use in the fall and winter, but not in the summer.
Not in the summer. Use something that you will want to kind of repurpose and kind of make sure you unstitch to redo it again in the fall.
In the fall. And so this picture is an example of how you can mix and match patterns. You're a big fan of don't be afraid to take chances with your patterns and colors.
Huge. And just looking at that, look at the contrast of the stripes and the different types of stripes and the patterns. You see the patterns that they have there are excellent. It's good to actually throw that in. And also when you're setting it up like this, don't ever put the solids in between each of the patterns. Put the patterns together and then put the solids on the side so they can see the contrast. You ever want to put, because they'll lose the pattern in the contrast of these patterns. You really want, your eyes won't go directly to the pattern. It'll go to the colors. You want to go to the pattern, then the color.
So it kind of like it's a border, a bookend.
So we always go to the pattern first before we go to the color.
Ah, you're just full of these great tips, Justin. All right, and you know what? Mike, who I was making, I'm not going to try to say the Italian dish, I'm a Titriana, Mike just told me. He's off to college for his first year.
Yes.
And actually, throw pillows like this would be great to put in your dorm room.
Would be excellent.
And you know, I have to say, you go to the store to buy throw pillows, they aren't cheap. They aren't cheap. So it's good, you can make it easily with something that you have, personalize it.
Then,
all right.
You know, you can personalize it and make it look what you want it to.
All right, so what we're going to do in the meantime, Justin, is I'm going to let you finish up this seam so we can cut it and show that distressed look and show the viewers exactly, and you can, you know, not take much time just to stitch that up quickly, and then show them what it could look like.
Definitely.
And this would be perfect for the fall, a nice sweater pillow. Look at that. Well, Justin, I've learned so much. I'm sure our viewers have as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sorry to make you labor on Labor Day.
I'm fine with it.
You love this,
I love
right? It's
it.
your
This
passion.
is my job.
All right, thank you. Coming up.